Hello and welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. As you know, we care about crafting young lives. We present stories drawn from our lessons in history and our folk tales, which are anchored on moral values. We think that these principles, these teachings, if adopted by our young children and young adults, they will become stronger and better human beings. Today's episode is about the situations that we face at our homes, at our workplaces. Haven't we seen situations where a student or a child is not concentrating on studies and people advise, hey, focus on your task at hand, the lesson that you are trying to go through. Even at work, when you are in a meeting, you are trying to get something done, you are thinking in the back of your mind that there is something to be purchased, there are some errands to do, some tasks to be completed. So you are not in that present moment. Let's listen to this story. Once upon a time, there was a monastery where there was a Zen master. There were about 500 disciples who were practicing various spiritual practices to realize who they were. So this was kind of a place for self-realization, kind of a training. So these disciples would typically pray, would meditate, would study scriptures, and would participate in various activities which helped them in knowing who they were and help them in seeking the so-called truth. So life used to be normal in that monastery. A young person came there and talked to the Zen master. The Zen master was kind to give him an audience. The young person said that, Master, I am determined to know who I am. I am trying to seek the truth. I am not highly educated, but I don't understand what's the purpose of my life. I have to find this truth, who I am. I have a name, I am born in a family, I have parents, I have brothers, sister, other siblings. However, I don't know why I have come to this world. I want to seek the truth. People are saying that there are so many disciples of yours in this place who are trying to do the same. You accept me as your student. The Zen master listens to him and says that you are choosing something which is very, very tough, which is a very difficult path. Have you thought about it? This young man says that, do not worry, master, I have come not to turn back towards my past, but to think about my future, and the only goal that I have is to seek the truth, is to know who I am and what's the purpose of my existence or my birth on this planet. Then the Zen Buddhist says that beware that whatever I say, you have to follow them to the T. And it may take really a long time that you have not ever imagined. It could so happen that you may not be able to find who you are and the truth that you are seeking in your lifetime. So it's a high stakes game. Are you ready? The young man says, yes, I'm ready, master. Then the Zen Buddhist master says that, okay, you would be provided with food, you would be provided with one room, but the condition is that you have to keep pounding rice until I tell you to stop. Whenever you feel tired, you can take rest in the room that is given to you. You will not speak to anybody else, neither you will come and talk to me. I will reach you whenever I want to reach you. You keep pounding rice until I ask you to stop. This man thought that it's easy and he can do it. So he was shown his room and he started pounding rice. Whenever he felt tired, he took rest. He again got up in the morning. He started pounding rice. and the rice that he pounded was consumed in the monastery. The other disciples used to cook that, and that food was being consumed. So he was every day given some rice, and as much as he could pound, there was no particular target. As much as he could pound, that rice flour was used for cooking. Life seemed simple. However, while he is doing it alone, he is aloof, he has no contact with anyone else. So his rice pounder, and his rice and his room, that's his world. He can't talk to others. Of course, he can listen what's happening around. And all of the disciples used to observe that this person doing just one task, and not studying the books of scripture, not participating in prayers, is not meditating, is not doing anything spiritual. They used to wonder why this person is around. This person kept doing it day in and day out. 12 long years passed by. 12 long years passed by. Yes. During those 12 years, what has happened? Just imagine what happens if you are asked to do one task for half an hour. Just watch TV for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 24 hours. Beyond that, you get tired, you feel like doing something else. But that's a training that Zen Master has set his new disciple up for. So in his mind, there were various thoughts which are coming. And those thoughts are coming and going by, coming and passing by. So slowly over a period of time, he becomes numb to those thoughts. He knows only one thing, he is only pounding rice, holding the pounder and he is pounding rice. That's it. So over a period of time, his mind becomes still, he is numb to those thoughts which were coming and passing by. Over a period of time, the speed at which the thoughts were coming and passing by started reducing. And possibly there was a time where the thoughts never occurred to his mind because he was doing only one activity, he was focused on one activity. 12 years passed by. The Zen Master announced in the monastery that it is time for him to retire and leave this world. He has to select the next person who will take charge from him. So he ran a competition. He said that most intelligent disciples of mine could write a small note and keep it outside my door or put it on the wall, and I will look at what notes you are putting it on my wall, and I will pick the most intelligent, most capable, most suitable person who will be my successor. So the chief disciple, the senior most disciple, who the other disciples looked up, he got up in the night and he wrote a small note on the wall of the Zen Master. What did the note say? The note said that the mind is like a mirror. Thoughts come and settle down on it. Desires come and settle down on this piece of mirror as dust. We have to meditate every day to clear that dust. So clear those thoughts, keep those thoughts at bay, keep those desires away. We need to meditate. The Zen Master got up in the morning and saw this message. Normally you would think that this is something very intense and something which is taught to these disciples time and again. And that's possibly the most important message that the chief disciple, the senior most disciple, has left on the Guru's walls. The Guru says that, hey, this is not what I was looking for. This is something very stupid. Everybody in that monastery were surprised about this comment from their master. So there were a lot of discussions going on amongst the disciples. Two disciples were passing by discussing this. the rice pounder heard this and smiled. The two disciples were surprised. They thought that this person is a foolish person, and why is he smiling? Did he at all understand the intensity of it, the depth of this message? So they went to this rice pounder and asked, "Why did you laugh?" This rice pounder for the first time opened his mouth and said that, "I do not know. I am an illiterate, but what I understood is pretty simple. The message which has been written is not correct." Then they said, "What is the correct message?" And this person, the rice pounder, says that, "I cannot write, but I can say a few lines. Maybe you can write on the Guru's words." So what is the message this rice pounder gives? The rice pounder says that the mind is an illusion. The mind does not exist. So the question of dust settling on it doesn't arise. The thoughts and desires coming and gripping the mind doesn't exist. So the question comes when there is something definite called mind. There is nothing called mind. So if somebody can understand this, then that person is the wise and intelligent person. The Guru saw this message, and Guru said the rice pounder is the person who has achieved salvation, who is now self-realized. He has realized that mind is the one which creates all the troubles. Mind creates the problems. There is nothing material. Yeah, there is something called a brain, which is a physical substance which is there in our head. But what is mind? Mind is just a energy, just a source of power, which, if used in the traditional way, it creates thoughts, it creates desires. And somebody who is self-realized has understood that mind is an illusion, and hence the person stays in the present. In Bhagavad Gita, there are a lot of explanation about mind. They talk about sthita pragya. Sri Krishna advises Arjuna to stay in the present moment, not think about the future, not think about the past. He says that control your mind. Mind is only creating so much of confusion in your mind. So possibly this beautiful story tells us that the practice of meditation is not something which is to be done in isolation and silence in the hills or in the jungle or in solitude. You can meditate even while you are working, even while you are studying, when you are working, you are cooking, you are dancing. If you can live in the present moment, that's possibly the best form of meditation. That's possibly the best form of self-control of your mind. You do not get distracted. So that's the focus that this story teaches us. That mind is really an illusion. If we can practice it, if we can practice to stay in the present moment, then that's the great self-realization. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to this and spreading these words of wisdom to our young children and young adults. This is easier said than done. We need a lot of practice to stay in the present moment. Then we can achieve the unachievable possibly. Thank you very much.